Okay, good morning and welcome, you amazing human beings, guys. It is Tuesday, the 29th of November. This is Pounds for Breakfast, and we are going to be jumping into the markets and having a look at what opportunities lay ahead for us. Now, we had an amazing day yesterday. Pounds for Breakfast was in profit. Dollars for lunch was in profit. So a great way to start the week. Tuesdays, we know, are generally quite slow, but we absolutely dominated the market yesterday. Just give me a quick shout out to every single one of our members to the Globex 360 live TV community. I can see Tamelo, I can see Nadir, I can see Fawad, Cohen, Ruwan, and Godwin. You guys are absolutely amazing. And again, thank you for being YouTube Globex 360 live TV members. You guys are absolutely amazing. As well as let me know where in the world you guys are joining us from. I would love to know from every single one of you. Now, we are going to move quite promptly today directly into the news. We're going to be spending and making Pounds for Breakfast a lot more efficient, while spending a little bit more time going through a lot more details, sharing a lot more in some of the other broadcasts, right? If you aren't yet a Globex 360 live client account, you do want to go ahead and get that account open and funded. $100 is premium, $1,000 gets you to premium plus, and $5,000 gets you into the private wealth series. That gives you access to additional shows. And if you do want to be a part of this Friday's NFP, you do need to be a premium plus member, right? Not just premium plus member. So again, get those accounts sorted out so we can go ahead and move together. Remember, we're still running the 100% deposit bonus. So if that's something you've been looking for, if you need that to boost your account equity, that is the deal for you. And if you're not looking for a bonus, then a cash back solution is the way to go. But we are going to jump in, we are going to open up, we are going to have a look at what's happening in the world from a news perspective. We will then have a look at some of those fundamentals. We'll get into some of the analysis, and then let's see what market opportunities lay ahead for us today. Now, looking on a local front, we are going to see some of the big parastatals continue to battle over, whether we start to see, these companies are in current issues, right? We're talking about parastatals. We're talking about, SA. We're talking about Eskom. We're talking about Transnet. We're talking about all these big state-run institutions, right? They're dominating headlines, will continue to dominate headlines as their infrastructure funding and just general business model has been riddled with corruption and greed over the past 20 years or so, right? And so these companies, which basically serve the South African infrastructure, a huge part of it. If you have a look at Transnet, Eskom, and just something like SA as an example, between these three, they pretty much hold South Africa's infrastructure by, barely a thread. So we're going to continue to see their names dominating headlines. Again, the solution here, I don't think, is increased government spending. We can see what government does with their money with regards to looting and squandering. I think it's going to be more in a direction of, looking towards privatizing a lot of these services, right? The solution has been valid for a long time. There was an interesting discussion where there was a plea where South Africans were asking Elon to buy Eskom. Elon made a comment that even if Eskom was willing to sell their whole business at R1, that would still be overpriced. That just gives you the state of affairs. So yeah, very, very difficult. But I do believe privatization is unfortunately the route to essentially solve a lot of these local issues. And until something like that happens, until we're allowed to see, private power supplies being injected into the economy, as long as we continue to see, more privatization, that will be a good tick in the right direction. But just as an example, Eskom's power infrastructure is just at such a bad state. It's almost unimaginable that there can be any sort of recovery on that space. Looking international and just speaking about the man, the myth, the legend, Elon, as if he doesn't have enough on his plate, Elon's essentially going to war with Twitter, essentially going to war with Apple, right? He almost seems like he can never stay out of the news for more than a week, right? If he says it, he thinks it, and that's just the way it is. So it's obviously mostly about, free speech, as well as that 30% that Apple charges on all Apple transactions within that store. And he's a wrecking ball, right? And I'm just worried about the fact that he's taken on all of these big names, that the industry starts to turn quite sour against him as a whole. SpaceX, he was limited to the space side. Tesla, he was obviously tackling the vehicle, automotive, and EV industries. But at this point in time, he's kind of now really tackling and dabbling with all of the big boys, right? Having opinions about everything. We've obviously saw very recently had a fallout, from a political standpoint. So yeah, Elon, obviously, I love what he does, but I'm just a little bit worried that he's maybe overreaching and essentially stepping across all of these different industries. Outside of that, BlockFi has filed for bankruptcy. That is, again, just a aftermath or ripple effect of this FTX major issue. So we are going to see a lot of companies in the fintech space, specifically in the crypto space, that are going to be essentially be going under, right? We estimated, looking at the FTX connections and subsidiaries and how many companies had liquidity passing through and holding liquidity on their behalves, there's up to 200 companies will have major financial damage. And that's excluding governments, right? We do know that the Canadian government had a ton of pension funds. I think it was 200 million Canadian dollars sitting in FTX as an investment type grade position. So the damage is obviously going to be huge from that FTX fallout. Again, if you want to find out more, just go ahead and Google FTX fallout. There's a bunch of really amazing productions that are out there already that pretty much highlight what has happened on this FTX space. Now, we are going to move into some of those fundamentals. We've covered some of that news data. So let's open up some of those fundamentals and have a look at what's in store for today. Good stuff. All right, so from a fundamental data point perspective, we do have the South African unemployment rate that is coming out today. This is always fairly controversial, right? First thing being, there isn't much of a consensus. The consensus is that unemployment rate, right, the forecast is that we will go up to 34.3%. But again, as with everything, our employment rate and that data is not super indicative of the actual unemployment rate. I was quite interested this morning. I was Googling what percentage, how many South Africans actually contribute towards tax. How many tax paying South Africans do we have? How many people in South Africa are registered as essential taxpayers, right? And that number is far below, 30% of South Africans actually pay tax or pay any sort of form of tax. So, if you look at that, we know that there are well over 50% of South Africans unemployed. The issue is with this unemployment data, it's only those who filed or said, hey, I'm unemployed, put their hand up and said, I'm unemployed. So again, looking at that 33.9%, it sounds outrageously high. The scary thing is that is actually very far from the truth from that number's perspective. So again, what does 33.9% mean if it's not even the correct number, right? And again, that is why it's been so hard to trade the South African rand based on this data, because this data on its own isn't a true reflection of the unemployment rates within this country. So again, it may tick up. We may say 34.3, but we've also seen in the past, and this is where the South African rand gets its name, the rattlesnake, we can see unemployment go higher, right? And we can see the South African rand increase, in strength. It's the most mind-blowing thing. We might see it today. So if you are looking at the charts, looking at the markets, look at 11:30. If we see unemployment go up, we might even go ahead and see the South African rand gain strength, meaning we could see the South African rand go down, USD ZAR move to the downside. That means South African rand is gaining strength on the United States dollar. So let's give it a look. I tend not to trade South African fundamental data purely because of its name being the rattlesnake. We'll get inverse data. Based on some data from the past, it is actually far better you do the exact opposite. You can be more profitable on the South African rand trading fundamental data points if you do the exact opposite of what the data suggests. So if unemployment goes up, you would think it's a bad thing. If you do the opposite and say it's a good thing for the South African rand, you could probably make a lot more money than using logic. But unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about that. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Okay. Moving on, BOE consumer credit, mortgage lending and loans and approvals. That's going to be on the pound 11:30. But 12 o'clock today, economic sentiment for the euro, and that's going to be the European Union, EU as a whole. So that's going to be something that's going to move the euro at the 12 o'clock mark. But we do have some inflation rate data for the euro that is going to be Germany dependent, right? So that inflation rate data that we are going to get at 3 is going to move the euro, right? It's going to do two things. It's going to move the euro and may play a very big role looking at German 30. So this is going to be the first data set we are going to be getting this week that has an effect on indices, specifically German 30. So 3 o'clock is going to be pretty big. We want to obviously understand what is that inflation rate going to look like and how will German Wall Street respond to that data. Are we going to see what we've seen in the past? So inflation goes up, we might see indices fall because there's a precedent that the interest rates hikes are going to be quite high. Or if we see inflation rates peak, what are we going to end up seeing? So at the moment, the inflation rate year on year currently, right, is that we are expecting a decrease. So we are expecting a 10.2 as opposed to the 10.4, right? Looking at the inflation rates month on month, previously we had a 0.9. We expecting as well as a consensus and a forecast for a decline in inflation. So this, again, as you guys understand, this will sign or signal that we are sitting at some sort of curve for inflation, and starting to see potentially this is going to be good signs of these very, very aggressive interest rate hikes. Should we see a reduction in inflation, this could be exactly what the stock markets, what Wall Street versions across the world, whether it be German 30, whether it be NASDAQ, whether it be US 30, specifically for today, this will impact German 30 the most. So that is what we're looking out for, to see that 3 o'clock move and see how we can see a bit of move and effect happening over there. Canadian, right? We are going to see Canadian GDP for third quarter coming out at 3:30 today. And there's going to be a bunch of GDP data, but specifically that one, 3:30, that is going to be the market mover. And then looking at the dollar, we have at 5 o'clock CB consumer confidence. And those are going to be the big items for today. Looking at tomorrow, those are big fundamental data events. We are going to have more events tomorrow. And tomorrow's going to be quite exciting because we have a slew of events, as well as we also have our year-end function. So we're going to be broadcasting tomorrow's events live. I'm just going over to just the high impact news and just have a look for tomorrow, how much high impact news we actually have just for tomorrow alone. Looking at today, right, we've only got those 3 items, but looking at tomorrow, we have a ton scheduled. And then obviously looking out for Friday, we have those non-farm payrolls that will be coming in. So those are going to be pretty big. Guys, if you are looking for an economic calendar that's just very, very responsive, I will put this trading economics calendar link directly in the Telegram group. I did forget about that yesterday, but we will jump into that today. So with that being said, let's jump into having a look at some of those trade opportunities that we are potentially waiting out for. So we are going to move into the FX analysis side of things. So let's go ahead and have a look what markets have available for us. And for the FX side of things, we are going to be using our favorites inside the client area. So again, this is for those of you who have premium plus accounts. Now, we aren't going to go through all of the favorites because again, we don't want to give market opportunities away for free. But again, for those of you who have your premium plus accounts, you will have access to your favorites in the back office. So let's go ahead and have a look here. Okay, so let's go into FX analysis. And I think the one that is going to be substantial for today is still going to be Euro USD. Euro USD having a very good indication of a pullback down to our known zone. We've obviously utilized this for a breakout, and I just want to show you guys this particular trade because I do believe there's some legs on this for a really good trade towards that zone. So I'm just opening up here and I'm just getting, let's go onto an hour. There we go. Okay, so we are looking at Euro USD in terms of, we saw that breakout yesterday. This is currently looking at Euro USD. We got the breakout yesterday. But again, the big issue here is that we came back into structure. So we had that market pop out, we've pulled back into structure, and now there's a likelihood that we will make that deeper push towards that downside. So again, we are looking for those sell opportunities. And again, that sell has the opportunity to go down towards market support. I think it even has the legs to get down to the 1.03 mark as markets push a little bit further down. And for this, we would need to have a stop loss that accommodates not for the current resistance, but for the next level above that, right? Having a look a little bit back in time, we can see we have 2 resistance levels above us, that one there as well as that one over there. So ideally, that's where we want to be covered from a stop perspective. And so you just need to manage that risk accordingly. But there is a probability sitting here at the moment of essentially getting to that 1.032 mark over the next 2 trading days. That's certainly where the momentum is pushing. And again, if we fail to break to the top side, it is more than likely that we are going to start to make some deeper fib retracement levels here, right? So as we know, we look at that push up there, we've started that correction, but we are going to then retrace slightly deeper into that zone. Again, looking at the path of your USD, we can certainly see we're in a bull path, but we will start to see markets slow down a little bit, waiting, as I've said, for 2 items. First one being on Wednesday, we've got Powell speaking, and that's going to be at 8:30 p.m. So when Powell speaks, that's going to be a little bit of an indication as what the Federal Reserve could be doing for that December meeting. Remember, the Federal Reserve is meeting on the 14th and the 15th December to decide that next interest rate announcement. So the markets will be almost in limbo a little bit until we see that decision from, or at least that speech from Powell. The CB Consumer Confidence this afternoon, we will be trading live in our Dollars for Lunch session. That'll give us a good indication. That's going to be a good fundamental data, good economic data event that will carry over into Powell's speech on Wednesday. So again, as we look for these data points, it's anybody's game. However, the dollar may be a little bit vulnerable leading up to the stage. There's a fairly good consensus. We are going to see a 50 basis point hike for that December meeting. And again, looking at what we could see on NFP Friday, this Friday, that is going to set the tone until that interest rate announcement. So very a lot of market opportunities. However, we would like to see what ends up happening with Euro USD. And I think there's a really good probability we could return to a known and safe level, potentially even pulling as far back as to the one euro buying $1.02, right? We could very well be in that range, and that's potentially where we'll end up being. From a price action perspective, looking at indice markets, we will see that we haven't uploaded anything from the let's just have a look here. We have not uploaded anything from an indices perspective. If you look for indices, you'll see it's missing here at the moment. So we haven't uploaded anything. There is a massive opportunity on gold. You guys can go ahead and check that out. But just having a look at US30 from a basic price action perspective, right? I just want you guys to see this. I think one of my penny orders got activated a little bit early there. Let's have a look here. I've got some penny orders that are activated. Regardless, doesn't matter. I just want to show you guys this really quickly. And that's going to be that if you have a look at this market structure, if you have a look at yesterday, let's talk about this really quickly. So if you have a look at yesterday's live session, we sold US30 right at this marker, right? So this was yesterday. This was our analysis. We're talking about markets pushing back up into that zone they did. We shorted US30. US30 ran, right, 1,500 pips all the way into the start of the New York Stock Exchange Open. New York Stock Exchange Open, we got a massive bull candle, and ultimately markets retraced all the way past that 100% level. This is a common indicator in terms of change of trend. I was already offline at this point. Markets reversed, came back, retested, and at 7 o'clock specifically, we get that next impulse of volume towards that downside. So 7 o'clock, we got the next set of volume, and markets moved quite substantially towards that downside. So that's just in terms of what happened yesterday. Now, looking at where we are today, we can see that today is a little bit of a corrective move. Today is a little bit of a starting at 1 a.m. We've started this corrective process. And in order to catch the next move, we have some really nice price action structure. Now, again, if you don't want to miss US30, you have to pay attention to this because we have not uploaded this onto our favorites because we don't have a definitive breakout point. The only time we will upload this trade or upload a market structure into our favorites would be in the event we start the breakout process already. So should you want to get in that one a little bit earlier, then obviously you're going to want to just obviously highlight this and make sure you get a breakout here. Now again, I'm in a sell setup here already. I've got a little bit of a sell for the reason being that you guys know that a market formation like this, right? A ranging correction towards the top side after an impulse is a corrective move for the next impulse towards the downside. So I'm expecting some sort of downside push here. I had a pending order set up, but obviously activated while I was prepping for the show. But yes, I would like to, in essence, get this order out on the downside and then a continuation towards there. Now, I do believe the speech this tomorrow evening, as well as the CB consumer confidence this afternoon, will move the US 30 quite substantially. But again, looking at that volume from yesterday, I explained as well that we could see increased volume on US 30, and that is just due to the fact that we had those 2 public holidays, and when markets come back, we could see additional volume come into this particular space. So we did end up getting that. Big day yesterday. Markets are going to shake that a little bit off. Markets are going to retrace a little bit. Markets are going to correct in a certain fashion, and then we could see the next move come in. Now, the move could come in well before the CB consumer confidence this afternoon. But again, there is a ton of data we have available to us to trade, right? We're going to have that German inflation and interest rate type data that is going to be coming out. We do have Canadian GDP that's coming out. So we've got a ton of opportunities to trade, and it's all going to be about lining those stars very perfectly. Now, if you are a Premium Plus account client, you will see we do have some Canadian trade opportunities we have uploaded into the client area, right? So again, just having a look at the Forex side, I'm just going to touch on this really quickly, but there is a ton of USD CAD, USD CHF type positions. I just want to show you guys the one CAD one. Yeah. So USD CAD is already in a breakout formation. That is not Dow Jones, obviously, but US CAD is already in that breakdown position. So again, you do want to monitor this. You don't want to check this out because again, that GDP data coming out for the CAD will have a massive effect on the market. So again, just another reason you want to be a Premium Plus member. The value proposition is amazing. It's outstanding. Being able to log in and receive an email as and when a trade is ready, as and when a price is breaking structure, whether it be 1 a.m. in the morning, 6 in the afternoon, whatever the case may be, having the opportunity to see that information available at your fingertips. That's what it's really about. So my focus is going to be on a couple of things. For those of you who have and are Premium Plus members, go look at the gold trade, right? It is a monster. That is where I'm going to keep a little bit of focus on. There's a short opportunity currently sitting on gold, but it is available in the commodity section. Again, if you're a Premium Plus member, I'm currently in that position. It's at entry point now, but it has the potential to run quite substantially. Again, my focus is going to be just looking at the South African Rand. The unemployment rate, again, I don't think is going to have the movement that we expect it to have. I think it's just going to be cause and effect. And then thereon after, obviously looking at US 30 and what could end up happening on the Canadian, as well as German 30 this afternoon. Now we are trading these big events late on this afternoon, all the way from that German 30 release, all the way up to that CB consumer confidence. We are going to be having special broadcasts there. We are going to be doing things a little bit differently, right? For those special broadcasts, we're going to have Premium Plus events. I will pop up a message as and when those are going to happen, but we are going to cover them. I'm just doing some more research and information, analytics on if we're going to see movements. I don't want to do a broadcast if we don't see the movements, but I will communicate that in the group. So again, that's just another benefit of being a Premium Plus or private wealth client with Globex 360. So guys, we are going to start to get back into the swing of things in terms of some of those fundamental data points today. Tomorrow is the big day. Tomorrow is also our year-end function. So it's going to be a little bit differently. We're going to essentially, for the first time, be streaming outside of the actual studio, and we are going to obviously figure out how that all works. Keith is asking, are we live this evening? Keith, what would we be live for this evening? Please do let me know. We don't have anything big this evening. So the big item with Powell is going to be that 8:30. That's tomorrow evening, right? So tomorrow evening, 8:30 for Premium Plus, we will be live. That's going to be for $1,000 accounts and more. We will cover what Powell says. We will trade that live. I do think he's going to drop some bombs, and I do think we're going to see a bunch of movement in the markets. So again, you want to stick around and be a part of that. Again, guys, if you don't have a Globex 360 live account and it is not funded, get yourself funded, get yourself sorted out, because this is where you want to be. We are going to be smashing it. Keith is saying, are we live this evening? Sorry, James, just love money. Fabian saying good morning. Aslam saying good morning, guys. Luke Lewis saying Mr. Miyagi. Zane saying what a country. Mustafa, Rufus Chuffer. What? Rufus Chua. Yes, that's the one right there. Rufus Chua saying good morning. Lana saying good morning from Vivo Limpopo. Beautiful stuff. Rawad saying I missed yesterday's sessions. Rawad, we had an absolutely amazing time. You do have access to those shows because you are a premium and premium plus client. So you can go and access those shows, click the links, go rewatch, just see what we discussed. Some very interesting stuff. Yesterday afternoon's one was quite short, quite quick because we're obviously accommodating for load shedding. And everyone's saying good morning, all warm day in Port Elizabeth. You guys are absolutely amazing. These are going to be the things we're looking out for. I'm going to go through the favorite trades and I'm going to see what trades we need to update, what trades we need to take away, but I'm going to place some of those trades. So again, if you see me talking about profits in the course of this morning, just know that all of those trades, as promised, people asking for market opportunities, people asking for signals, people asking for when to enter a trade, when and how, we've answered. That's all available in your client area, in the Globex 360 client area. So again, if you don't have a Globex 360 live account, click the link down below, get started. In the client area, when you log in, is a WhatsApp support. Again, in the groups, I've put the Telegram bot there. If you need help, you can simply message support on WhatsApp or Telegram, and our amazing team is there to help you every step of the way, whether it's uploading documents, getting your deposit, getting your withdrawal, whatever the case may be. Our team is there to assist you. Okay, so guys, outside of that, you know the drill. Have yourselves an amazing day. Watch that USD ZAR data release. I'm not going to be broadcasting it live because I think it's just going to be a little bit comedic, so we will watch it just for comedic purposes. Darlene Shaw is in the house. Beautiful. That's my mother. Welcome, mom. Fabian saying smash that like button, people, and Asan saying Alvimo, Brent and I are not friends at the moment. I don't think anybody's friends with Brent at the moment. I have put some time into analysis there. I'm spotting some trends on Brent, but I will reserve that for our premium plus sessions, and I will be taking you guys through that. Specifically, I think Brent should be reserved for private wealth clients. So I know, Aslam, without a doubt, you are in the private wealth series, as well as some of our other clients here. So we will reserve that for actual sit downs, for debates. We can go through it. I can show you what I've found. You can tell me what you found, and we can develop a strategy around dominating not only Brent, but extracting any money out of Brent that Brent might have taken from you. We go together. We take the heavies and we go together. All right, guys, outside of that, guys, have yourselves an amazing morning. Remember, smash that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. I do see Matthew has subscribed. Where is Matthew? There we go. Matthew Butter, welcome to the family. Welcome to the Globex 360 community. You are welcomed. Obviously, make sure you're part and parcel of the bigger events and the bigger shows. Like I said, premium is $100. Premium plus is currently sitting at $1,000, and then private wealth is for $5,000 and above. So guys, listen, it is Tuesday. We are getting back into those fundamentals. Wednesday is a big one. Friday is obviously NFP. So obviously sit back, relax, hold on to those seats, stay tuned, because we are going to be going quite big. Remember, we are having Dollars for Lunch this afternoon as well. Some additional shows. I'm just going to do some information research over what those shows need to be in order for us to have the best profitable day ahead of us. So guys, you know the deal. Be safe, trade safe, and we will see you all a little bit later. Have yourselves an amazing morning. Until a little bit later, goodbye.